Top of the morning. Top of the morning. Well, it is over here. The road less traveled. What that means to me is doing your best not to have or be a part of the herd mentality, right? Not being enslaved mentally. That requires a lot, to set yourself apart from the masses. That is a whole experience in itself. It's a voyage. It's a quest. It's a journey. It takes a lot. And it opens up a whole plethora of subject matter, all types of content, But without going into a topic that's vastly general, let's be a bit more specific. Let's talk about cholecalciferol, or D3. Now, there are combinations like D3 and K2, potassium, and this one, manganese, and that one, and copper, and that one. And when it comes to D3 and K2, so like the D3 and K2 have a synergistic effect in helping you absorb calcium into your bones, right? So this is beneficial for people who may have osteoporosis in their genetics, right? So one thing I have researched about D3, and I'm not talking about supplementation, I'm talking about synthesizing D3, because this is a very anabolic hormonal vitamin. It's very powerful. It does a lot for the whole body. Now, the thing about the sun and the various UV rays, and I fell victim to this too for a long, long time, right? And I went around it, which was beneficial in many ways because I didn't really understand what was what, right? And that was my whole journey when it came to understanding nutrition as a whole. Fitness, wellness, and with that comes your physique, supplementation, etc. Right? So for me, after studying this for forever, it seems, right? A long, 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 long time, I now know that, and again, for a lot of these things I talk about, it may seem like common sense, but in actuality, just because you know something doesn't mean you're gonna affect it. And sometimes it takes a little bit of a push to help people say, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And then sometimes it's like, you'll make that determination in your mind and you'll say, Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But it's not getting done. And it's like, oh, it's coming up again. I'm going to do this. But once a person makes that determination from within themselves and they actually commit to it, and I'm not saying every single person that does that will, in fact, commit to where they get to a nice level, but it is something of a switch that you have to turn on, right? For the sake of this live, I'm focusing on D3, right? And I've learned that spending time in the sun, yeah, there are obvious harmful components with your skin and the sun. However, if you're able to balance out getting the appropriate amount of sun at the right times, again, with the right amount of time, you can kind of toggle that like balance of getting proper D3 synthesis in your liver and your fat. And interestingly enough, it can store in your body for up to 4 months. So I took that and I said to myself, you know what? Let me get morning sun around 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Because you can get like 15, 20, 25 minutes of early morning sun, and you can get the same of late evening sun, right? So per day, if you get like, let's just say anywhere from a half hour to an hour of sun, but at those times with that duration, and you do it for, no, I wouldn't, Mazel, I wouldn't do it for $5 million. Yeah, it's that serious. Like Samson serious. But, because a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on money, you know? So it's like, no, there's no money that would have me do that. No money whatsoever. So if you put like between a half hour to an hour of that exposure, and you do it for like, let's say a week, 10 days, what's happening is you actually build up the storage of synthesized D3 in your body, again, in your liver and in your fat. And it can store for up to 4 months. We're talking about like upwards of almost like 120 days. So what that means is, like, if you're in the northern hemisphere and you don't really have too much sun during the winter months, you don't have to supplement with D3 because you have ample storage of D3 in your body. And that's the whole point of this live stream. Taking the... Oh, okay, thank you for letting me know. Yeah, I mean, it's probably because I'm traveling, but it'll correct itself. So over time, if you've built up storage of D3 by getting the appropriate amount of sun at the right times for a consistent period of time, let's just say 2 to 3 weeks of sun, where you get like 30 minutes, a half hour to an hour of sun every day for like 2 weeks straight, you can build up to 3 or 4 months of supply in your body stored. So that means the entire duration of the winter, you set yourself up for the whole winter. So you don't have to worry about supplementation. So that is something that is like an anomaly because it's a vitamin that you actually synthesize from sun exposure, right? From the UV rays, right? But when it comes to other vitamins and minerals and microminerals, you can get everything without actually doing blood work, because if you do blood work, then you're going to be like exact, right? So whether you do a take home, like you do a kit and then you send it to a lab, or you actually go somewhere to get it done, that would be like precise, right? But for the most part, if you're kind of like, if you're one of those people who knows how to track macros, calories, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you can get all, and again, this sounds like common sense, but you can get everything from food. Well, not everything, but mostly everything from food, and you don't really have to take any supplementation, you know? And when I say supplementation, I'm not talking about creatine and protein powder or like anything more hardcore. I'm talking about actual like vitamins. You don't have to take any of it. You don't have to take a multi. You don't have to take E or, you know, again, D3, K2, magnesium, any of them, you know? And I'm not trying to persuade anyone to not take vitamins and minerals or supplements. I'm just putting this out there as I learned it. It's all of this. And with time, now it's like, it's amazing because there's literally no pills. And then you'll go to a doctor and that physician will be like, wow, you know, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. They'll look at your gums, they'll look at your blood work, they'll look at your overall health markers and say optimistic things, you know? So that's really the point of this live stream. It's called The Road Less Traveled because, you know, everyone is quick to follow some sort of advice, right? And yeah, maybe I'm giving advice too, but when it comes to it, it's usually some sort of supplement that someone's selling to you, right? It's like, okay, all of these different things are here together in this bottle, right? Take this, take 2 of these, and you have all of that, right? And you're going to notice this. But they're selling it to you, you know? So with this channel, I try and foster a community that can brainstorm on information with money. Because look, would you cut your beard for $5? Again, like a lot of us will bring money into the equation. You'll see that in this channel, you ain't ever going to hear about money when it comes to me. Unless I'm either trying to give it out or I'm just trying to say, wow, that was expensive or something along those lines. I ain't selling anything. I ain't ever going to sell anything. You know, not around here. If y'all want to come in and promote something, go for it. But it's not going to come from me. And I will give information out for free. And practically everything I do, you'll notice, is for free. Right? They say nothing in life is free. I've been giving stuff out for free for a long time, you know? And that's not for, you know, someone to come in and joke and say, oh, give me $10 after I just said all that. But I'm just saying, everything is structured around like, well, if you want this, then, you know, this is what you have to do. Whereas like in here, I'm just trying to brainstorm with people because I don't know everything. I'm sure there's someone who knows a lot more that could potentially come in and school all of us, you know? And that's what this is all about. Because if we open up dialogue, then someone else can chime in and say, well, this is what I know about it, you know? And that's what I try and do on a regular basis now. And that's why I started these live streams, to be able to open up those conversations about whatever the subject matter is. Today's content revolves around supplementation and the road less traveled. You know, let's keep our eyes on the road. Right? BX, baby. We out here, as usual. Hopefully the audio is not lagging right now. You know, Jerome Avenue, Kingsbridge, Fordham Road, Bronx, you know, 2 something in the morning. We out here. And yeah, I'm gonna toggle back and forth. But that's really the gist of, it's nice outside, by the way. It's almost 60 degrees. Yesterday was like 60. That's awesome. But I'm going to hop off of this in a minute. That's really all I wanted to touch on, is taking the road less traveled. In this case, getting off of all supplementation, you know? And I will constantly bring up the theme of how money will not be something that revolves around this channel. Not from me, anyways. If you want to, like, you know, because some people want money no matter what, right? They need that money. Like on this blog, it's like there's a lot of people that everything revolves around money, you know? It's like you're gonna basically do whatever it takes to get that dollar. Well, I'm in the US, so it revolves around the dollar, right? But I look at the dollar differently than, I guess, the overall consensus. Yeah, of course money is important, but at the same time, the road less traveled, it requires bravery. And if you believe in something that you genuinely think is powerful enough for you to be brave enough to take that road less traveled, well, if it pans out, you're probably gonna get a lot of reward for that risk taken. And to me, that's important because I've been doing it since I was young. I remember when I was young, I used to go, like when I was in college, right? I used to, like, it didn't matter to me, like, if people made fun of me. Like, I would go into class, straight up, go into my classes with these crazy sneakers on, right? And people would make fun of what I was wearing. It's like they had different names. They'd be like, yo, you got the moon boots on. It's like, you got the moon boots on. Which actually at the time, there were these sneakers, they were called strength shoes. So it's like there's a heel in the front. It's like a big triple sole in the front. And then you basically have nothing in the back. So you're basically walking on air. And you have like you're doing a calf raise every time you walk. And then they have this other one that was called jump soles, right? So with jump soles, it's the same concept, but you have like you put your sneakers into that, you know? And same thing. It's like you're doing a calf raise when you do a calf raise every time you walk, you know? And you basically you get your training done that way, you know? So I used to go to school like that, and they'd make fun of me. They'd be like, yo, you got the moon boots on, you know? And I wouldn't, it wouldn't faze me. It wouldn't bother me whatsoever. I'd still do it no matter what. Because again, the road less traveled, you know? And with that road less traveled, I believed in something. I believed in it to say to myself, this is gonna help me with such and such goal. Right? So for me, it was like, I do this and it's gonna help me be able to jump higher. You know, so I was like, I'm gonna do this. And because I was a full-time student at the time and I was working like 2 or 3 jobs, I wasn't sleeping much. I was just doing what I had to do at the time. It's like, this is the only time I had to do that. So I did it when I went to school. And I didn't matter if someone was gonna make fun of me or anything like that. No, it was like the road less traveled means you gotta be kind of brave and believe in something. And if it pans out, then you're gonna wind up getting a reward that trumps the risk because it panned out, right? As opposed to maybe a weekend warrior that doesn't invest as much time in. So that's what I generally always tend to think. Like that's how I think everything kind of pans out, if it plays out in your favor. So that's really it. I'm pretty excited to not have to worry about a lot of the things that maybe I did at some point earlier, because knowledge is power. And when you affect that wisdom, it's incredible. Because in hindsight, everything is clear, right? But when you learn and when you look back, and if you were actually a front runner, it's amazing because you did things when it wasn't so clear, you know? And a lot of other people were scared and they weren't as brave. So if it panned out for you, you wind up getting things that others were blinded to or refused to see. So as a result, you'll reap the rewards. So that's really it. I just wanted to check in to talk about the road less traveled And for me, today was about, you know, basically discussing how supplementation is something that will be less and less, which I'm pretty excited about because it's like, who wants to take a whole bunch of pills or powder for the rest of their lives, you know, in the name of whatever it does or whatever the claims are for whatever it's said to do for you, you know? So I'm pretty excited about that. The fact that the wisdom has now shown that I don't need to take these supplements because I learned why I don't need to take them. So that's amazing. I'm gonna make it right here. Yeah, and that's really it. So anyway, okay, just like that, you know, a half hour passes. And I will catch you all later, you know, on the next one. Thank you for checking in if you have. And I'm gonna keep it moving, you know. On to the next. I'm sure there's gonna be a bunch of shorts. Let me put this up. I'm sure there's gonna be a bunch of shorts coming. And till the next time with the lives, you already know.